of being selfish. Do not dare! I spent the last 26 years of my life trying to please you, and I've done everything, and I mean everything. I put your happiness before the children's happiness, before my happiness. You're the self-centered man I've ever met. So, don't accuse me of being selfish, Winston. Don't you dare!
Sorry, sir. I thought somebody...
The Sprouts misbehaved.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Pussycat, Mr. Pug is very sorry. Pussycat, do let me in. Mr. Pug is very lonely out here. Mrs. Pussycat, please. Wolf. Wolf, wolf.
Meow.
And how are you this morning, sir?
All right, I think. Thank you for asking. Missing her, of course, but that's to be expected. No point in dwelling on her absence. We must KBO.
Yes, sir. Keep buggering on at all times, sir.
KBO. That's the order of the day. We are entering a period of danger and of anxiety. Come up. Let us stop and see exactly. No. Stop that. Stop that. Oh, bugger. Thank you kindly. We're entering upon a period of danger and of anxiety.
You're repeating yourself?
Well, all right. Don't break your heart about it. And how do we stand in this long period of danger? Pause for emphasis. Look of doom and foreboding. There is no doubt that the Germans are superior to us in the air at the present time. And it is my belief that by the end of the year, they will possibly be 3 or even 4 times our strength.
Where on earth did he get all that information?
Winston makes it his business to be well informed.
Well, I don't like it. It could do immense damage to our trade with Germany. Not to mention the cost of rearmament. I mean, where does he think the money's coming from? I want him isolated. Tell the whips.
Only a short distance away there dwells a nation of nearly 70 millions who are taught from childhood to think of war and conquest as a glorious exercise, and death in battle as man's noblest fate. Stop.
Mr. Churchill.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Mrs. B. To urge preparation of defense is not to assert the imminence of war. On the contrary, if war was imminent, preparations for defense would be too late. However calmly surveyed, the danger of an air attack on London must appear most formidable.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wickham.
That's all right.
London is the greatest target in the world. A kind of tremendous, fat, valuable cow tied up to attract the beast of prey. We cannot retreat. We cannot move London.
Newspapers. Papers, get your papers here.
This is all a bit Agatha Christie, wouldn't you say?
Daily Express. Times. Get your newspapers. Get your papers here.
Dearest Clemmy, thank you for your letter. I'm delighted you had such an exciting time in Madras. Stop. Mr. Philip sounds a most agreeable and adventurous companion. Stop. I've decided to make the peninsula on the bottom lake into an island, thus providing a safe haven for the geese. Their heavy work will be done by a great mechanical digger, which does the work of 10 men and will therefore please the accountant. As you will have heard, Randolph was heavily defeated in the by-election and lost his deposit. This resulted, of course, a setback for him and should teach him prudence.
Progress to the Indian people. The choice is in your hands.
If I achieve anything, they all say it's because of you.
Rubbish.
And when I fail, they say, oh, what a tragedy for the old
For
man.
God's sake, Randolph.
I'm not a child, Papa. I'm 23. I want to make a life of my own.
All right, do what you like. Make a fool of yourself. I don't give a damn.
Go to hell, Papa. I'm not staying in this bloody house a moment longer. Bugger.
Sprouts again, sir.
Cauliflower.
Keep young and beautiful. It's your duty to be beautiful.
Mary and I went to see the show that Sarah has got herself involved in. Didn't care for it at all. On a patch on Gilbert and Sullivan.
Keep young and beautiful. It's your duty to be beautiful. Keep young and beautiful if you want to be loved.
Met this wretched man she keeps talking about, Vic Oliver, the so-called star of the show.
If you want to be loved, if you're wise, exercise all the fat off. Take it off the here, off there. When you're seen anywhere with your hat off, have a Marcel waving your hair.
Can't imagine what she sees in him. Common as dirt. Diana, I know, has written to you about her intended divorce. A sad business, but probably all for the best. I dealt with the situation very clumsily, I'm afraid. I wish profoundly that you'd been there to offer comfort and advice. It's getting deeper in, Richard! The accountant has been sadly disappointed. Downpours of rain occurred. The mechanical digger sank into the mud and finally wallowed himself into an awful pit. No good. Hopeless.
98 degrees, sir.
Very good, she's full steam ahead.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir.
In a jacket tonight, isn't she?
Yes, sir. The looser trousers, sir.
I'm afraid so. Around at 6.
Very good.
Morning, Mr. Churchill.
Your dear letters are the only bright spot in my life, Clemmy. I fill my days writing inflammatory articles about Germany and thus incurring the wrath of Stanley Baldwin, which pleases me no end.
Evening Standard. Have you seen it?
Well, yes.
Yes, I don't seem to have had much luck as far as Winston is concerned. He's more voluble than ever.
Germany is his new hobby horse. He won't let go of it.
Oh, you've got to make him. What?
10:30?
Yes, I will not allow him to interfere with government policy, nor indeed with the smooth running of the party machine.
I'll do what I can.
Have a word with someone in his constituency.
Yes, of course. A word about what exactly?
Well, there must be a large amount of local party members who are dismayed, not to say alarmed, by Winston's behavior. Encourage them to speak up. Tell them to make him aware of their displeasure. Say he's erratic, totally unreliable.
Brave.
Hello, man. Enjoying it?
Oh, very much. You?
Oh, immensely.
Winston's been very active recently.
Active?
Oh, yeah, endless speeches, all those newspaper articles, Evening Standard, Daily Mail, everywhere you look. Created a lot of anxiety.
Yes, I'm sure.
Not surprising, really.
No.
His information is remarkably detailed. People are starting to wonder where it comes from. Of course, a lot of it could come from your department.
Yes, it could, I know.
Winston started to make some real impact. Slowly but surely, attitudes are changing. It would be unfortunate if something were to go wrong.
Wrong?
Yes, one has to be very careful. No unnecessary risks, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Here we are.
Hello. There you are, my darling.
We must defend our island from foreign aggression. Stop.
You're clear.
We should repudiate all defeatism and pacifism. Stop.
Bugger!
Western 93. It's for you, sir, Mr. Wigram.
Our country can only be safe if it is strong. Brave, how are you?
Winston, I can't go on with this. I'm sure they know something. We have to stop this now.
Listen, Brave, just a little longer.
Winston, are you sure we're not making matters worse?
I don't believe we are. It's so very important what you're doing, Rafe. You mustn't stop now. Rafe KBO, remember our motto, keep buggering on. Life is drab without you, Clemmy. If it weren't for Mary, I'd be utterly miserable. Now, I just want to show you the scale, the distance. There's the south of England where we live, and there is Austria, where you went last Christmas with Mummy. Yes, and you remember how far away that was? Yes. Now, I'm going to show you where Mummy is now. Let her go! Miles and miles away. Your desert island picnic with Mr. Philip sounds idyllic. I wish I could have been there with you.
Through the Suez Canal.
It is over 11 weeks since you left Chartwell.
Madras, Rangoon.
And I'm counting the seconds until you return.
To Komodo, where the dragons are.
It really is a long way.
It is. Paragraph. Diane has gone back to her husband, comma, but I fear the marriage will not last. Stop. Inches out. I'm in the middle of a letter.
Telephone, sir.
Out.
The man says it's important, sir.
Go back later.
Really important.
Who is it?
Major Sankey, sir.
Who the hell is Major Sankey?
One of your constituency workers. I think you should talk to him.
What, now?
Yes, Mr. Churchill. He's been ringing all morning.
Oh, all right, all right. Inches, you're the most irritating clod that ever walked the earth. I was in the middle of a letter to my wife, and now I've completely lost my train of thought. Idiots. Have you no sensitivity whatsoever?
There's no need to be insulting, sir. I was merely passing on a message.
Shut up, Inches. How dare you? Tell the girl to put the call through up here.
She's gone to lunch, sir.
Well, then do it yourself.
I am not acquainted with the mechanism, sir.
Oh, God almighty bloody hell. You're very rude to me, Inches.
You're very rude to me, sir.
Yes, but I'm a great man.
You're a stupid old bugger.
Mr. Churchill's in trouble.
How do you mean?
Mr. Baldwin or someone high up is trying to get him pushed out.
Of what?
The Conservative Party.
Don't be daft, girl. They wouldn't do a thing like that.
They don't like all his speeches about Germany. They want to shut him up.
Well, can they do that, Mrs. B? Just kick him out?
They could, I suppose. Yes. Organise a vote of no confidence, something like that.
They never get over it.
I know.
I tell you this, Mrs. P, if they do kick him out, I shall never vote Tory again. Never. Not even Liberal.
Passate! Buggers! This is absolutely the worst thing of my whole bloody life. I'm surrounded by enemies. They call me a warmonger because I speak the blunt truth. Baldwin is behind all this, Stanley bloody Baldwin. No better than an epileptic corpse. Who is in charge of the clattering train? The axles creak and the couplings strain. The pace is hot and the points are near. And sleep has deadened the driver's ear. And the signals flash through the nights in vain. For death is in charge of the clattering train.
He'll be needing a glass of champagne.
Possibly, too.
Charlie, Mummy's nearly finished, and then I promise we'll go out to the park.
There's someone to see you, ma'am.
Oh, who?
Mr. Pettifer.
Pettifer? To see me? We'll go in a minute, darling.
What are you reading, Charlie?
Good afternoon, Miss Pettifer.
Mrs. Wigram,
I'm afraid my husband's not home.
it was you I came to see.
Me? Please, do sit down.
Thank you. I need your help in a rather delicate and confidential matter. The Prime Minister feels it would be advantageous if your husband did not see quite so much of Mr. Churchill.
What do you mean?
It's perhaps not wise. Not good for him.
Not wise for who?
Your husband.
Well, then shouldn't you be telling this to my husband?
I'm quite sure he takes note of what you say.
What my husband does is his own business. I wouldn't dream of trying to interfere.
No, of course not. But do remember your husband is the head of an important part of the Foreign Office. It's not a good idea for him to tell Mr. Churchill what's going on.
Why? If indeed he has been.
Please, Mrs. Wigram, don't let's argue about this.
Please, Mr. Pettifer, don't treat me like a child.
If your husband persists in seeing Winston, he may find himself being posted somewhere inconveniently distant. Which would, of course, be difficult with regard to your son. Difficult for him to travel, I mean. Difficult also, I should imagine, to find the appropriate medical assistance in certain parts of the world. I dare say it would mean your having to stay here.
You've made a foolish mistake, Mr. Pettifer.
Oh?
A tactical error. When a member of the government comes to my house and threatens me so openly, it only goes to show how extremely important it is that my husband continue his friendship with Mr. Churchill. That is my opinion, anyway.
Please give my regards to your husband. Do tell him what I said.
I think I prefer not to.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Wigram.
What do you want, Mr. Churchill?
I'm looking for a letter.
What letter?
I thought there might be something from Clemmy.
Not today. It's not easy to post letters in that part of the world.
Perhaps tomorrow? Does the name Terence Phillip mean anything to you?
Terence Phillip? Yes. Art dealer, I think.
Anything known?
Good looking. Rather dashing, plenty of money. His father was rich.
Married?
No.
Clemmy seems to be quite chummy with him. She keeps mentioning him.
Oh, he's on the boat with her.
He is. I'm idiotically jealous.
Oh, Winston.
I'm sure she's in love with him.
Rubbish.
She writes about him in every letter. Terence and I did this, Terence and I did that.
They're companions, friends on holiday together.
I know Clemmy. I can read between the lines. I know her thoughts.
Don't be ridiculous. She loves you, Winston, very deeply.
I'm a rotten husband.
Nonsense.
I suppose he's the romantic type, you know, all that sort of stuff. Never got much of that from me. Well, it never seemed important, even when I was young. Daisy Fellows, she tried to seduce me at the Ritz. Wasn't interested. She used to think it was because I smoked too much. Tobacco is bad for love. Old age is worse.
You're talking nonsense, Winston.
I've lived too long. I'm in the ruck. I've drunk too deeply of the cup. I cannot spend. I cannot fuck. I'm down and out. I'm buggered up.
Where you get that from?
It's a translation from the Russian, Pushkin, I believe. You may laugh, Desmond Morton, but I think about it all the time. Clemmy and that fella.
She'll be home soon, Winston.
Wrap me up in my tarpaulin jacket and say a poor trooper lies low. Get 6 stalwart lancers to carry me with steps silent, mournful, and slow.
Mr. Churchill! Mr. Churchill, sir! Mr. Churchill!
Angie, you're drunk.
She's here, sir. She's here.
What?
Taxi's coming down the drive, sir.
What on earth are you talking about?
Mrs. Churchill, sir.
She's here.
Yes, sir.
She's here. She's here. She's here. She's here. She's here. She's here. Out of my way. Out of my way.
It's your wife, Will? Oh, lovely. Thanks so much.
Why are you all wet?
I thought I'd never see you again.
Oh, here I am. Mr. Inches, how are you?
So you had a good time?
Wonderful.
I missed you very much.
I missed you too.
I'm not sure that I believe that. You seem to have seen a lot of Mr. Terence Phillip.
Yes,
You like him?
it's good fun.
Good fun?
It's very interesting.
I hear he's much in demand. All the hostesses in London want him at their dinner table.
Oh, yes. I'm sure they do.
You should ask him here for a weekend.
Hmm.
Do Did you fall in love with him?
You made me like him. Oh, Mr. Pug. Your new island looks lovely.
At Versailles, it was laid down, and at Locarno, it was confirmed that Germany was forbidden to take any armed forces into the Rhineland zone. And for 18 years, the fortresses of Frankfurt, Koblenz, and the other garrison cities on the Rhine have been empty. But gradually, under dictator Hitler, Germany has been asserting her independence of treaty obligations. First, she left the League of Nations, then she set about rebuilding her army, navy, and air force. Until today, when her forces play at war in mimic battle, Germany is seen again to be one of the great armed powers of Europe.
Die und die Bewegung sind Lebensausdruck unseres Volkes, damit ein Symbol des Ewigen. Es lebe die nationalsozialistische Bewegung, es lebe Deutschland!
We're powerless. Hitler's preparing to tear the world apart, and we can do nothing.
Of course we can, and we shall.
I should never have shown you those papers.
What do you mean?
Well, perhaps the Prime Minister's right. Perhaps we should try to find a compromise with Herr Hitler.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. We know that's impossible.
Then perhaps we should let him have his own way.
For God's sake, Ray, what ridiculous nonsense is this?
Ray, you're tired. We should go home.
Hundreds of thousands of people will die. Millions. And I shall be responsible.
Weeks, that's just not true.
Partly responsible, then.
How would you be remotely responsible?
By showing those papers to Winston. By stirring up public opinion. By making it impossible for the government to reach a settlement with the Nazis.
Brave.
Hitler is unstoppable. In 3 years, he's made himself dictator of Germany. He's dumped the Treaty of Versailles and rebuilt the armed forces. He'll march into Austria, and then Czechoslovakia, and then God knows what, the whole of Europe.
There may be a war. I grant you that. Nevertheless, we shall win.
How can you say that? It's just mindless optimism.
When I was at school, I had a friend called Merlin Evans. And one day we were talking about what we would do when we were grown up. And I don't know why I said this or why I thought it. But I said, one day in the future, Britain will be in great danger. And it will fall to me to save London and the Empire.
Schoolboy fantasy. Like wanting to play for England or climb Everest.
My destiny. And I truly believe it.
You're an extraordinary man, Winston.
I am. I know it.
Nobody but you could say that sort of thing and expect people to believe it.
Destiny is what I believe in. Destiny commands. We must obey.
It's a very jolly lunch, I'm afraid.
Look after yourself, Alma.
Take care of Rafe. He needs you so much.
I will. Thank you, Clemmy. Bye.
All over Europe, it is the hush of suspense. And in many lands, it is the hush of fear. During these last few years, the world has grown gravely darker. We have steadily disarmed, partly with a sincere desire to give a lead to other countries, and partly through the severe financial pressure of the time. But a change must now be made. We must not continue longer on a course in which we alone are growing weaker, while Germany is growing stronger. Prime Minister.
Oh, hello, Winston.
I hear there's a nonsensical rumor that you're about to retire. Please state that that isn't the case.
Well, I shall be making an official announcement in due course. But please be discreet. I don't want everybody to know.
I'm very surprised. You're much loved in the country, Stanley.
I've had my day. I'm exhausted. You know, some days I'm so tired I can hardly turn over the pages of a book.
We've had our differences, profound differences. But I've always admired your great political skills.
Winston, let me tell you something. To my mind, war is the greatest folly that can afflict mankind.
No, absolutely, no question about it.
Now, please don't interrupt. Now, maybe you're right about Hitler. Perhaps this war is inevitable. But I believe that I am also right. I have done everything in my power to preserve peace, and I would do exactly the same all over again. Bloodshed, sorrow, irreparable loss. That's what I've been hoping to prevent. But, as I say, you may well be right.
So many telegrams today.
German troops are on the march. Thousands of them. Hence all the telegrams. Hitler's planning to invade the world, and we're planning to do nothing about it. What do you make of that, Marjorie?
Oh, well, I'm...
Perhaps we should go home. What do you think? Or we could take a stroll at St. James's Pub. It's remarkable weather we're having for this time of year, and, well, we're hardly much use here, are we? Sorry, Marjorie. It's a poor joke. Thank you. Thank you for these. Marjorie, I meant to ask, what time is the defence meeting tomorrow?
I don't think you're required at that meeting, Mr. Wigram. We haven't received any notification.
Not required. Fine. It's funny how word gets around.
Thank you very much. Come on, my little man. Hello. Oh, Charlie, it's snowing. How lovely. Ethel, can you manage?
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
We should go and find Daddy in the garden and make a snowman. What do you think? Oh, silly Mummy. Silly Mummy. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Shall I take him? Thank you. Come on, young man. What you need is a bath. Good bath. Be up in a minute.
Rafe? What's wrong?
Nothing. Drink?
Please. wonderful. We must take Charlie to the park. He's never seen snow like this. So beautiful, like a painting. You must telephone to the office, tell them you won't be in today. Just for 2 or 3 hours. It is Christmas after all. I'm sure they can spare you. I'm afraid I absolutely forbid you to go to work on a day like today.
Poor turnout from Whitehall.
I know. Pretty bloody awful.
We had lunch with him a few days ago, and he was very upset then. I was quite frightened. Do you think...
It says pulmonary hemorrhage on the death certificate. I think we should leave it at that.
He said it was all pointless. Everything he tried to do. Was it pointless? His life was very precious to me. Please tell me it wasn't wasted.
Ava, my dear, you'll be very proud of him. People often act heroically because they don't fully appreciate the dangers that lie ahead. Rafe saw those dangers and was afraid of them. But he did what he did in spite of his fear. No man can be braver than that.
Thank you, Winston.
What is it?
Any invading force would march across our little bit of England on their way to London. I wonder how long we've got.
This is London. You will now hear a statement by the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Neville Chamberlain.
I am speaking to you from the Cabinet Room at 10 Downing Street. I am speaking to you from the Cabinet Room at 10 Downing Street. This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
Up here, Mrs. P. What's the matter?
Telephone, sir. The Prime Minister's office.
First Lord of the Admiralty back in power!
Jolly good show, it's marvellous.
I've been made a member of the War Cabinet. Mrs. Churchill and I must now make our home in London. Needless to say, we shall return to Chartwell whenever possible. Every one of you will be looked after, neither retained here or found good jobs elsewhere. Mr. Inches has all the details. There may be difficult and painful times ahead, but now that I'm in charge of the Navy, Mr. Hitler and his Nazi thugs had better look out. We're going to teach them a lesson they'll never forget.
I think a glass of champagne might be in order.
Well, with respect, sir, I think we might save that for happier days, sir.
Quite right.
However, there is a very good claret, sir, that you might be interested in. It is a very good year. I can't tell you which year, sir. It's about
32. Not to the House of Commons, then at the Admiralty. For the Navy to run. Just before the Battle of Blenheim, Marlborough said to his aide, "Today, I conquer or die." Now I know how he felt. Thank you.
For what?
For being rash enough to marry me, foolish enough to stay with me, and loving me in a way I thought I'd never be loved. Evening.
Good evening, sir.
And the new First Lord?
Yes, sir, we know that.
How do you know?
A signal was sent to the fleet this afternoon.
What signal?
Winston is back, sir.
Winston is back. And so he bloody well is.